Aimsy here of Aimsy's Antics. Welcome to my channel. I hope you're well today because I have a crafty DIY for you today, and one that is reusing another item to make it into something else. That's right, in this video I'm going to show you how to turn a picture frame into a calendar and using it as like a wipeable dry erase type calendar. Perfect for planning out your month or week. You can change this up to however it suits you, and we're going to use Canva to do so. Now you don't need any paid version of the Canva. I made this using the free version, so I'll show you the process of making this and how you can make your own too. So if you have an old picture frame lying about, want to get a little bit more organized this year, then let's jump into the DIY and how to turn the picture frame into a calendar. So the first thing to do is open up Canva, and it's canva.com, and as you can see I am using the free version of Canva. Now on Canva there are lots of calendar templates, so if you just search calendar 2022 then you will get lots of preset designs, but these are not the sort that I was going to use in the picture frame. So as you can see there are some free designs, there are some pro designs, and there are some paid designs, but none of these are actually what I wanted. So the thing to do is actually create your own design and create this page shape and size that you want. So what you want to do is click on create a design and select custom design, and then you want to change this to centimeters, and for the width you are going to put 29.7 centimeters. And then for the height it will be 21 centimeters. Then you click create new design and it should open up the brand new blank page. And I forgot to say, this will create a landscape version of the calendar. If you are wanting portrait, just swap the two measurements around and it should give you the portrait A4 size. So as I've already searched for calendars, it's giving lots of templates for calendar, but we're going to ignore that and go straight into Elements tab and open up lines and shapes. And then we just want to find a basic square shape, which is like the first one here, and it is free. So what you want to do is input this onto the blank canvas and resize this to create a square for the days of the week. Then what you want to do is once you get the right size, you want to copy this and paste it so that you have 7 across. And don't worry if you can't get all of them equal distance, because there is a little trick to do this which is really cool. So once you have all 7 across the top of the page, you want to highlight them and then it'll bring up some options. So what you want to do is click position and tidy up at the bottom, and this will just make sure all the spaces are even. And once you have them where you want and the desired size, you just then want to group them together. Then you want to copy and paste so that you have 5 rows of these boxes, and this will give you slightly more boxes than days of the month, but that's fine because it works out in the end as it works, and you have spare space to write things on as well. So once you have copied and pasted them all, you then want to use that tidy up function once again to make sure everything is evenly spaced, and once it is, group these all together again. Then you just want to highlight and change all of the colours of the squares to suit whatever your theme for the calendar is. I tried out a few different colours and ended up on a very pale yellow colour to match with my decor. Head back to the Elements tab and select the square that has a border so you can change up the colours. Now I am changing mine to match a little bit here, but I do end up changing it later on. Then you just want to make this a bit smaller so that it fits in the top left hand corner of the boxes, and you can actually create a full screen just to see how this is looking in a sort of more precise size rather than the little screen what you're editing on, if that makes sense. So once you're happy with the size of this, you then want to copy and paste it into the top left hand corners of all of those, is it 35 boxes? Trying to align them as you go along. Once you're happy with all the positioning of it, you then want to select it all again and group everything together so that it all moves as one and you don't knock anything out of place when adding other elements. On the left hand toolbar you'll see the tab for text, so you want to select this and then click add heading, and we are going to actually create some headings for the days of the week. So all of the rows, it's going to be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we're going to just do a letter to represent these. You can actually put the days if you prefer, it is up to you, the calendar is totally yours. So I'm just doing an M and then resizing it to see where I want it to fit, trying to fit it into the middle of the top of that box, then just changing up the font. Now the possibilities are endless with the font on Canva, there are so many to choose from. You just need to be mindful, some are paid and some you get with your subscription, so just keep a lookout, but they will be sort of identified which are which, and you can search which ones you want. I'm using Lemon Tuesday, I believe it's called. I really like this font. I use it in a lot of my stuff, so I'm sticking with that theme and just positioning that M where I want it. Then I'm copying and pasting, and then I'm just going to do the days of the week for the rest of that week. And I think I've also need to change up the colour of this, so I'm going to change it to the same colour as the smaller squares on the bigger grid. Now I found that the grid was just a little bit too high on the page, so I'm just moving it down to the closer to the bottom of the page, and then again moving them days of the week to the top of the grid. This just gives a little bit more room at the top so that we can add some extra detailing at the top of the calendar. Then I'm just grouping together the days of the week and changing up that colour as I said before. And then where we've just created a little bit of space, I'm just adding in month, matching the text to the rest of the text on the calendar and placing it to the top right-ish part of the calendar where I want to write the month, for example. And then once I've got this, I'm going back to the Elements tab and going on line, because I want to create a bit of a dotted line just so I know where I can write the month of the year on it. You don't have to do this bit, but I thought it just tied in a little bit by doing this, and then changed up the size and colour to match everything else on the calendar. Now at this point I felt like the calendar looked a little bit bland, so I thought about changing up the background. I didn't want to change the colour because it's obviously been printed on white paper, so I've gone into background and tried different backgrounds, and I just didn't think it looked right. I wasn't a fan of that, so instead I'm then going on to the Elements tab and using some of the elements to add a little bit of a creative background. So I'm searching for celestial because I like all things moons and stars and all that jazz, and just finding different drawings that will go really well in the background for this. They do have a lot, and it will tell you which ones are free and it'll tell you which ones are part of the pro plan. So all the ones I'm using here are free, and then I'm just playing around and positioning the different elements on the calendar. And once I get them in a place where I think they will look good, I'm then just clicking on it and clicking the position tab and sending it backwards so it's behind all of the boxes and text, and it just gives it like a different background look. So you can use this to create your own unique backgrounds, change up the colours to match how you want it and the shapes and everything. So just play about and hopefully you'll get a background that you really like. This is the one that I settled on in the end. And then once you are happy with the design, you just click download and use the recommended settings, and it should download onto your computer ready to be printed off. I stayed on Canva and just designed, and I'll show you how to do it, another calendar that is a yearly view, so all the months, just so you've got a rough idea of what days of the week and what dates are falling where, just to make it a bit easier to fill in the Whitehall calendar. But you can skip towards the end making the other calendar, but I'll show you how to make this one. So we're going to make it as an A4, so we're going to use the same measurements as before. So it's going to be 21 centimeters high by 29 centimeters, no, other way around, 21 centimeters wide, yeah, and 29.7 centimeters high, sorry about that. Then create the design, and this will give you an A4 sheet in portrait mode. So you want to head over to the Elements tab once again and create the square like we did before. I've just copied and pasted one from the previous calendar, so I've got the colour combination that I used. Then you just want to resize this, and you want to copy and paste so you've got 3 across the top. making sure they're the right size. Then you group them together, make sure they're all lining up together as before. Then copy them so you've got 4 rows equaling 12 squares, and each square will represent 1 month of the year. Then you want to just create the heading of what year it is, so that obviously it's 2022 when I'm doing this, but you can change it up to whatever year you want it to be. And at this point I will then delete the square that I pasted in, because I now have all the colours that I used before, and placing this on the top. So once this is in place, we can then start designing the months of the year. So using the headline function again, you just then want to write January or whichever month you want to start with, changing it up to match whichever text you fancy, changing the size of this so it fits in the middle of the top of each box. Then copy and paste this and change the months to whichever corresponding month that box is going to be in. Then it's time to create the days of the week. So I did these individually in a text box each, but you could do these with a big space in between if you want to just use one text box. I found it easier to do it all separate. Group them together and then copied and pasted them to each of the 12 boxes. So now comes the fiddly part of adding all the dates to the corresponding days of each month. So you can use the calendar on the computer, or you can pause my video a bit later on because I'll show you it's all fully done. But what you want to do is use a subheading box and then look down the columns under each day of what corresponding date falls under that. So I'm going to do all Mondays and Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, Sunday, if that makes sense. So what you want to do is write the number, spacebar right underneath, and keep going so you get a vertical text box, and then just line it up under each corresponding day of the week. It is easier once you have your first one in, because you can then follow the flow of the numbers and just play around with it so that all the numbers line up evenly. Then you want to group all these together once you have everything in place so that nothing moves out of place and it's all there set. And repeat until you have all 12 months completed. And like I say, I will have a completed one, so if you want to pause, take a screenshot, knock yourself out. And then for added effects, I just wanted to highlight all of the bank holidays or important dates of the general year, so like Christmas and everything. So I'm just going back to the Elements tab and creating a circle, changing it to the colour to match the calendar, and then going up to the top bit and changing the transparency, so it's the grid that's got like a fading colour on it, and just reducing the transparency so that you can still see the number and it just highlights that day and that you know it's a bank holiday or important day of that year. So I'm just doing this throughout the whole of the year, and then the calendar is nearly complete. To finish off the yearly calendar, I'm just using the same elements that I used in the other calendar, the picture frame one, and just adding these in to the background just so that it ties it all in together. So you can create the background however you like for this part. Then you want to just download it, and we will be then ready for printing both this and the wipeable calendar off. Now you can use any paper that you like to print it off. I am just using a bit of photo paper for a bit of extra quality. And then here is my disassembled picture frame. Now I have used this previously as a calendar but had it stuck to the back of my wardrobe. I've changed my wardrobe since, so I'm going to change this up. So what I'm doing is just cleaning down the picture frame. I've removed the glass and all the backing just to get into all those nooks and crannies, and then I'm just going to give that glass a really good clean. And this is a DIY glass cleaner which I can link up above if you want to make your own. Just cleaning all of that muck off so it's nice and sparkly and ready for the new calendar. So now it's time to assemble the calendar. So I'm just placing the glass back into the frame and making sure not to scratch or damage the glass in any way, because I am clumsy, and that's why I'm doing this on the bed, just so it's got a soft landing. Then giving it a quick wipe over if there's any fingerprints that may have been transferred onto the glass. Then the calendar, and as you can see it's printed slightly wonky. My printer isn't greatest, so I am in the market for a new one, so if you've got any recommendations, put them in them comments. But yeah, just put that calendar face down so that the print is facing the glass. Then you just want to add on the backing, and as you can see, the A4 doesn't quite fill the frame. I thought this was an A4 frame, but it's slightly bigger. So what I've done, I've just wrapped the backing card for the photo frame in some tissue paper, which sort of goes with the design. This is what I already had on previously, and all you do is stick that paper to the backing, place this behind the calendar, and then I like to place a bit more just to give it a bit more stability, and that's the actual size of the frame that I am using. But yes, place this in and then place on the backing, and then the calendar is nearly complete. Then all you need to do is fill in all the details on the calendar of which month it is and what day of the week it is, and the DIY picture frame calendar is complete and ready to be displayed and help you organise your month. So they have how to make a picture frame calendar using Canva and an old picture frame to do so. I really like how this has turned out. It just makes looking at the month at a glance so much easier. Obviously, it's a little bit impractical if you do need to plan for future appointments that are outside of the month than it is. So you will need some other form of organisational diary or whatever you use to keep appointments. But this is a good way to see what's coming up in that month and helps you plan that month ahead. At the start of the month, just to get a little bit more organised. And you can totally change up the design and have the layout a lot differently. It is up to you. That's the beauty of using Canva and making your own calendar. You can have it exactly how you want and how it works for you. Now, if you don't have a picture frame to change into this, you could always laminate, as if you've got a laminate lying around as well, but you could also laminate the calendar and use it as a Drywipe sort of erasable surface as well, like you used to do at school. It might not last as long and you might need to reprint and laminate it, but it is another version if you don't have a picture frame or space for a picture frame but can actually pin this up, I guess, somewhere. That's just another option. So if you've enjoyed the video, then let me know what you think of this picture frame calendar in them comments below, and don't forget to give the video a big thumbs up if you have enjoyed it. And whilst you're there, hit that notification bell, because that will subscribe you to all the future crafty and creative videos coming up onto the channel. And if you hit that notification bell as well, that will alert you when the next video has gone live. I also have a blog which is Aimsy's Antics, and that's linked down below and up above for you to check out. Sometimes there's just a little bit more information over on the blog, so be sure to check it out. And with that said, I will see you in next week's video, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and week. You're able to do something creative and crafty, like maybe make your own erasable calendar using a picture frame. The possibilities are endless. And until the next one, bye!